Glen McGregor joins us now from Ottawa. And Glen, let's start with Venezuela. How is this all affecting the Canadian oil sector? Something very much on the minds of Canadian politicians.
A lot of concern about what the arrest of Nicolas Maduro and the U.S. government's intention to run Venezuela, according to President Trump, in the interim in order to get their hands on oil that they believe was unfairly taken to them in the 1970s and 80s when Venezuela nationalized its oil industry. The big concern is that if a big glut of oil starts flowing out of Venezuela again, it could affect exports from Canada. And the reason for that is that we export essentially the same kind of heavy bitumen oil that comes from Venezuela that gets sent to the southern United States, and most of the oil coming from Alberta ends up in the American Midwest. They have sort of similar refining capacity there. So it is theoretically, with some modifications, interchangeable, and that could depress the price that Canadian oil commands on U.S. markets. It's a big worry. Listen to what the Prime Minister had to say when asked about this today in Paris.
It's been our view, and we're working towards this, that Canadian oil will be competitive because it is low risk, clearly low risk, low cost, the marginal costs. There's been huge progress in getting down the costs, and low carbon.
Now, what Carney is hinting at there, talking about the risk of big oil companies investing a lot of money in Venezuela because the country's industry has sort of collapsed over the years, needs a major technological overhauls, new exploration, billions and billions of dollars of investment needed by U.S. oil companies. And Carney is suggesting, well, political situation is so uncertain in Venezuela. We don't actually know who's really running the country right now. Is it still the Maduro regime? Is it some kind of committee of American leaders? We don't really know. And he says that is going to discourage investments. But what would this mean, though, if suddenly Venezuela turns on the taps to a much greater extent than they do now? Currently export about 1 million barrels a day, potentially could increase that to 3 or 4, and that would certainly cut in to the supply coming from Canada. It's going to be an interesting to watch over the next coming days, weeks, and months, Cynthia, to see who really takes control over Venezuela and whether or not they can get the oil industry back on its feet, and ultimately, will that have any effect on Canada's oil industry?
Absolutely, Glen. Something to watch very closely. Thank you very much. Glen McGregor in Ottawa.
Thank you.